All right, everybody, ready to dive in? Today, we are going deep into the world of pump systems.
Pump systems.
Pump systems. I
Mhm.
know it might not sound super exciting, but stick with us.
Yeah, pumps are way more interesting than you might think.
Exactly. We've got a ton of research here, and it turns out that picking the right pump system, well, it can really affect your bottom line no matter what business you're in.
That's true. They're everywhere, these pumps, working behind the scenes. And honestly, they're pretty amazing, way more complex than most people would guess.
Okay, so before we get too far into it, let's talk about the cost. I'm seeing some big numbers in these reports.
Yeah, you do have to be careful about that initial price tag.
Right. But what's interesting is that just looking at the upfront cost can actually lead to, well, some expensive mistakes down the road.
Exactly. Think of them like buying a car, right? The cheapest car on the lot might save you money up front, but then you're constantly paying for repairs.
And probably getting terrible gas mileage.
Exactly. So with pump systems, you have to think about the total cost of ownership, not just the purchase price, but energy consumption, maintenance, all of that.
So let's talk energy efficiency. How much of a difference can a high-performance pump system actually make?
Oh, it can be a big difference. We're talking potentially saving 20 to even 35% on energy costs compared to those standard models.
Wow, so it's not just a few bucks here and there. That's real savings.
Oh yeah, absolutely. These high-performance systems are designed to minimize how much energy is wasted. They use things like variable frequency drives to optimize the motor speed.
Wait, hold on. Variable frequency drives.
Yeah.
What are those?
It's basically like cruise control for your pump.
Okay, I'm listening.
So instead of the pump running at full blast all the time, a variable frequency drive adjusts the motor speed, to match whatever flow is actually needed.
So sometimes it needs to run full blast, and sometimes it can slow down.
Right, and that saves you energy. Plus, it reduces wear and tear on the pump itself so it'll last longer.
Oh, so it's not just the immediate energy savings, but also less maintenance and a longer lifespan for the pump. Smart. Are there any other cool tech advancements that are helping with these efficiency gains?
Definitely. The material science is a big one. They're using these specialized composites and nano-engineered alloys to make the pumps tougher, lighter, and more resistant to corrosion.
Wow. So these aren't your grandpa's clunky old pumps anymore.
Not at all. These things are high-tech. And it's not just the materials. The monitoring and control systems are getting incredibly advanced, too. Imagine sensors that can detect tiny vibrations or a slight temperature change and alert you before anything breaks down.
That sounds like a dream come true. No more emergency repairs in the middle of the night.
Exactly. That's what smart monitoring is all about. They use data analytics to track performance, and they can even predict when maintenance will be needed.
Okay, so we've got self-diagnosing pumps built with these super durable, high-tech materials. But how do we actually measure the return on investment for all of this? Where do we even start?
Well, you start with understanding your current costs, right? We need to look at energy consumption per cycle, what you've been spending on maintenance, and how much downtime is costing you in terms of productivity.
So it's about looking at the whole picture, not just comparing price tags.
Exactly. We need to build a financial model that takes everything into account. The initial investment, the energy savings, reduced maintenance, productivity gains, and how long the equipment is expected to last.
I bet those calculations can get pretty complicated.
They can be. It's definitely a good idea to work with experts who can guide you through that process. But even with those challenges, the potential ROI on high-performance pump systems is hard to ignore.
All right, so we've talked about energy savings, less maintenance, and even a boost to productivity. But how does all this apply to different industries? Isn't a pump just a pump?
Well, not exactly. The ROI calculations and what you need to consider really depend on your industry and what your specific needs are.
Okay, can you give me an example? Like, how would the analysis differ for a manufacturing plant versus, say, a water treatment facility?
Sure. In manufacturing, think about high-volume production, running all the time. Downtime can be really expensive, so reliability and efficiency are essential. Even a small improvement in how your pumps perform can translate to big savings and more output.
So for them, it's all about keeping things running smoothly and maximizing production.
Right. Whereas for a water treatment facility, the focus might shift more towards durability and making sure those pumps last for a long time. These systems are often running 24/7, providing those essential services, so reliability is critical.
That makes sense. So there's no one-size-fits-all solution. You need to consider what's important for each industry when evaluating these pump systems.
Exactly. That's where choosing the right vendor is really important. They can help you navigate all the options and find a system that fits your specific needs.
Okay, so let's talk vendor selection. What should we look for when choosing a supplier?
First, find a company that really understands your industry and the challenges you face. Look for a proven track record, high-quality products, and good support and service agreements.
So it's not just about getting the cheapest deal. You want someone you can trust, someone who's going to be there to support you long term.
Absolutely. And don't hesitate to ask for data about their systems, performance data, and maybe talk to some of their other clients. You want to see proof that their pumps get results.
All right, so we've chosen a good vendor. The new pump system is installed and running. Are we done?
Not quite. Even with the best technology, you can't just set it and forget it. Continuous monitoring is key to making sure you get the most out of your system.
So we need to stay involved, keep an eye on how things are performing over time.
Exactly. It's like having a high-performance athlete. Even with all the talent in the world, they still need to train and have their performance monitored to reach their full potential.
I like that analogy. So it's the same with these pump systems. This has been really interesting. I'm definitely seeing pump systems in a whole new light.
Right. It's way more than just moving water around.
Exactly. It's about using technology to optimize everything, from efficiency and costs to even the impact on the environment.
That's a really great point. High-performance pumps use less energy, which means less pollution and a smaller carbon footprint. It's good for the planet and good for business.
It's a win-win.
Absolutely. And we're just getting started. There's a lot more to explore in the world of pumps. We were talking about choosing the right vendor and monitoring those pump systems.
Yeah, making sure you're keeping an eye on those things.
But it's really exciting? The technology. It's completely changing the pump industry.
Yeah. I mean, it's amazing how pumps have gone from these basic mechanical devices to, like, these intelligent machines.
Right. It's like we've gone from the Model T to a Tesla.
Exactly. And AI, I mean, artificial intelligence, it seems like that's a big part of it.
Huge. AI and machine learning. We're talking about pumps that can analyze tons of data, learn from how they're performing, and even predict when they'll need maintenance.
So it's not just about collecting data anymore. It's about using that data to make smart decisions.
Exactly. These AI-powered pumps can actually adjust themselves in real time. They respond to changes in demand, pressure, temperature, all of that to make sure they're running as efficiently as possible.
It's like having a pump engineer on duty 24/7, making tiny adjustments to optimize everything.
That's a great way to put it.
But what about us? Does this mean pumps will run entirely on their own someday? No more humans needed?
Well, not quite. I mean, these advancements definitely reduce how much we need to be hands-on, but human expertise is still essential.
Right. Someone still needs to be there to make sure everything is running smoothly.
Exactly. Humans are still needed to interpret the data, make those big decisions, and ensure the safety and reliability of the whole system.
So it's more like a partnership, right? Combining human intelligence with artificial intelligence.
That's it. We get the best of both worlds.
Makes sense. So AI, smart monitoring, new materials, what's next? What other cool innovations are coming down the pipeline?
Ooh, that's a good question. Wireless sensor networks are a big one. Imagine sensors that can communicate wirelessly, no more messy wires everywhere.
Wow, yeah. That would make installation and maintenance so much easier.
Right, especially in those big industrial settings where running cables can be a nightmare.
Definitely. And with all those sensors talking to each other, you could collect even more data about how the pump is performing.
Exactly. More data, better insights, greater efficiency. The possibilities are endless.
So the future of pumps is looking pretty exciting. But, something we haven't talked much about is the environmental impact. I mean, we talked about energy efficiency, but are there other things to consider?
Absolutely. It's not just about using less energy. It's also about minimizing water waste, choosing those environmentally friendly materials, and designing systems that are built to last.
So it's really a holistic approach, thinking about the entire lifespan of the pump and its impact on the environment.
I got it. We need to move away from that use it and toss it mentality and embrace a more circular approach, reusing and recycling materials whenever possible.
Right, that makes sense. But what about the average person? How can we make more sustainable choices when it comes to pump systems?
Well, a good place to start is by educating yourself. The more you know about the environmental impact, the better choices you can make.
So do your research.
Exactly. And look for those certifications, like Energy Star or WaterSense. They mean the product meets certain efficiency standards.
Oh, yeah, I've seen those labels before.
And don't be afraid to ask questions. Talk to the vendors, do your research, and really understand the environmental impact of the systems you're considering.
It's about being informed and making conscious choices.
Exactly. And remember, it's not just about the purchase itself. It's about the entire life cycle, maintenance, repairs, even upgrades to make the system last longer.
So thinking long term and making those choices that minimize waste and our impact on the planet.
That's it. And with all the amazing technology coming out, we can expect even more sustainable solutions. We're already seeing solar-powered pumps and systems that can reuse wastewater. It's pretty cool stuff.
That's amazing. So the future of pumps isn't just about performance, but about creating a more sustainable world.
Absolutely.
Hmm.
And that's a future we can all be excited about.
I have to say, this has been an eye-opening conversation. I never thought I'd be so fascinated by pump systems.
Right. They're pretty incredible.
I'm starting to see them as more than just machines. They're these powerful tools for innovation and sustainability.
That's a great way to think about it.
And it's amazing how these, seemingly ordinary devices can have such a big impact on our lives in the future.
It really is. And it's just the beginning. There's so much more to discover in the world of pumps.
I'm ready for more.
But before we get to that, I want to leave you with something to think about.
Okay.
Think about all the different systems and processes in your own life, at work, wherever. Could there be hidden inefficiencies or outdated technology, or maybe even opportunities to use innovation to do things better?
That's a good question. It's easy to get stuck in our routines and not see where things could be improved.
Exactly. And just like a well-maintained pump system prevents breakdowns, addressing inefficiencies in our own systems can save us a lot of headaches and missed opportunities.
So it's about being proactive and looking for ways to improve, whether it's using a new tool, streamlining a process, or even just talking to colleagues about how to make things better.
That's it. And sometimes, even a small change can make a big difference.
So it's all about embracing that continuous improvement mindset.
Exactly.
Always looking for ways to be more efficient and sustainable, whether it's a literal pump system or just how we do things in general.
You got it. And as we wrap up this part of our deep dive, one last thought.
Yeah.
Don't be afraid to challenge the way things have always been done.
Oh, I like that. Sometimes we need to shake things up a bit.
Exactly. Just because something's been done a certain way for years doesn't mean it's the best way.
It's about being curious and looking for new and better solutions.
That's the spirit. And who knows, maybe you'll discover some amazing innovations along the way.
So everyone listening, take a look around and see where you can make a difference.
Embrace the power of innovation, and let's create a more efficient and sustainable future.
This deep dive into pump systems has been incredible.
I'm glad you enjoyed it.
I've learned so much. It's amazing how much we rely on these machines and the potential they have for shaping the future.
It's true. They really are the unsung heroes of our modern world. But hey, before we wrap this whole thing up, get one last thought. A little something to really chew on.
All right, hit me with it. Or check it.
Think about how information flows or resources or even ideas, within your organization, your community, wherever.
Okay.
Are there any bottlenecks? Places where things get stuck? Could things be moving more smoothly?
It's like that analogy you used before, right? About optimizing the flow.
Exactly. Just like a well-designed pump system can keep things moving efficiently, we can look for ways to improve those flows in our own lives.
So whether it's information, collaboration, or even creativity, there might be ways to make things flow better.
Absolutely. As you go about your day, think about those areas where you can have an impact, where you can smooth out those rough spots and create a more efficient and harmonious system.
That's a great takeaway message. It's like taking those engineering principles and applying them to how we work and live.
Exactly.
This has been an incredible journey into the world of pump systems.
And we've only just begun to scratch the surface.
I'm walking away with a whole new appreciation for these machines and what they do for us.
I'm glad to hear that.
And what's really inspiring is seeing how innovation in this field is helping to create a brighter future, a more sustainable future.
Couldn't agree more.
Thanks for taking us on this deep dive. It's been a real pleasure.
The pleasure was all mine. And hey, everyone listening, remember, never stop exploring, keep learning, and keep asking those questions. There's always more to discover.
And on that note, we've come to the end of our deep dive into pump systems. We hope you've enjoyed the journey as much as we have.
If you want to learn more, check out the show notes for some great resources and links.
And if you liked what you heard, don't forget to subscribe to the deep dive so you don't miss our next adventure.
Until then, keep diving deep.
See you next time. Welcome back. We've been on quite a journey with these pump systems, haven't we?
We have. It's amazing how much there is to learn about something that seems so simple at first glance.
Right. And before we wrap up, I wanted to go back to that idea you mentioned earlier about applying these pump system principles to other parts of our
Oh,
lives.
yeah, that's a good one. Thinking about optimizing the flow of information and resources.
Yeah, exactly. It got me thinking about how we can take those concepts of efficiency, innovation, and even sustainability and apply them to other systems and processes.
Absolutely. I mean, think about your workplace for a second. Are there any areas where communication is slow or decisions take forever? Could those processes be streamlined, maybe with some new technology?
Hmm. I see what you mean. It's like taking a step back and really looking at the big picture, finding those bottlenecks where things aren't running as smoothly as they could be.
Exactly. And just like a well-maintained pump system can prevent those expensive breakdowns, addressing those inefficiencies in our own systems can save us a lot of frustration and lost opportunities.
It's about being proactive, right?
Mhm.
Finding those areas where we can make a difference, whether it's implementing a new system, improving communication, or even just having a conversation with colleagues about how to make things better.
That's it. And sometimes, even a small adjustment can have a ripple effect and lead to big improvements over time.
So it's all about embracing that continuous improvement mindset, always looking for ways to do things better.
Exactly.
And that goes for everything from actual pump systems to how we approach our work and our lives in general.
Absolutely. And as we wrap up this deep dive, I want to leave everyone with one last thought. Don't be afraid to challenge the status quo.
Oh, I like that. Sometimes we get stuck in our ways and forget to question things.
Right. Just because something's been done a certain way for a long time doesn't mean it's the best way. There might be a better solution out there.
So be curious, ask questions, and don't be afraid to try something new.
That's the spirit. And you never know what kind of amazing innovations you might discover along the way.
This has been such an incredible journey into the world of pump systems.
It has been fun, hasn't it?
I'm honestly amazed by how much I've learned and how important these machines are.
They really are essential.
And what's really inspiring is seeing how much innovation is happening in this field and how it's contributing to a more sustainable future.
Absolutely.
Thanks again for taking us on this deep dive. It's been a real pleasure.
My pleasure entirely. And hey, to everyone listening, the journey doesn't stop here. Keep learning, keep asking questions, and most importantly, keep diving deep into those topics that spark your curiosity. There's a whole world of fascinating knowledge out there waiting to be discovered.
And that's it for this episode of The Deep Dive. We hope you've enjoyed it as much as we have.
If you're thirsty for more, don't forget to check out our show notes. We've got links to some great resources and information.
And if you liked what you heard today, be sure to subscribe to The Deep Dive wherever you get your podcasts so you don't miss our next adventure.
Until next time, keep exploring and keep on learning.
Bye, everyone.